here, but I don't think we should wait any longer. You talked about Leonardo DiCaprio. I want to jump to the best actor category because this has to do with Leo and his snub. And he is TDI's guy. He is our number one uh, ace in the hole, cleanup hitter at the Oscars, who we look forward to hearing, right? His name potentially announced on stage, but also the guy's a lightning rod, right? The guy is a magnet. And even amongst all these giants that are nominated, we want to see Leonardo DiCaprio nominated, and that's not going to be the case this year for the 96 Oscars. So the nominees for Best Actor, Bradley Cooper does make it for Maestro. Well deserved, in my opinion. Okay. I don't give a shit what other people are saying. Like what he did in that movie, very few actors can do. Paul Giamatti, The Holdovers, a lot of momentum going right now. A lot of people are viewing him as the 1-2 punch, the 1-2 maybe winner, potential runner-up, alongside Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer, who's also nominated, Jeffrey Wright from American Fiction, and then Coleman Domingo for Rustin. Leo is on the outside looking in. And Ricky Flex, if I went back to Sundance in 2023 and I would look at those reviews upon the initial release of Killers of the Flower Moon, and I said that Leonardo DiCaprio was not going to be nominated for an Oscar for this performance, I would have thought I was the dumbest person alive. I would have said I was out of my mind to have one of the movie stars, a guy who can combine A-list like appeal and also talent and not get nominated for one of Martin Scorsese's final films, one that he's acting alongside Robert De Niro. And he is the one out of the big three not to get an Oscar nomination with De Niro and Lily Gladstone. That's freaking insane, Ricky Flicks. And I think he deserved the nomination. I think he did. I know we have a lot of momentum for like a Coleman Domingo. Seems like a very lovable actor. He was an actor's actor for quite a long time. He's got a very appealing Oscar type of role with a civil rights activist with his role in Rustin. All the other ones, I don't know if it's because of the category so competitive or they just wanted to open it up to different names. Ricky Flex, why didn't we get any Leo here?
Yeah, this is, I'll start things off. This is crazy. I think this is the biggest snub. I think Leo, like, again, going back to Sundance and going back to these when the review embargo got lifted to Killers of the Flower Moon, it had 100% certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, like for like a week. It was crazy.
People couldn't stop talking about Leo's performance.
Yes, people were literally, like, acclaimed critics were saying this is the best Leo performance he's ever. And I would say, like, if we did a redo on our top billing of best Leo performances, best, not favorite, this probably makes the list. Like, this probably does. Saying that, this should easily be nominated for an Oscar then. But again, SAG, the Screen Actors Guild, correlation to the Oscars, hinted at this. No Leo nomination. And I know I tweeted this, and I think we did talk about this on the pod, saying Leo might not get nominated for an Oscar. And I don't know, I forget if you bat an eye at me, but
no, I called you crazy. It was
the indicator there. Like, the SAGs are like, that's the acting correlation, and him not getting nominated by his own freaking peers, by actors, just, that was a bad sign. So I don't know if it's Leo getting older. He's turning 50 this year. He's being much more selective with his projects instead of evaluating that, and especially picking a Martin Scorsese project that had this budget, that had this topic. The disrespect, I'm like, this is crazy to me. Maybe it's because he played a different type of part. He was not that Django Unchained, truly villainous type of role that, like, was sexy, quote unquote. Didn't get nominated for an Oscar for that, by the way. He was kind of playing a dumb person. He kind of was. And maybe that just wasn't appealing and people just didn't consider that difficult. But just looking back at some of the highlights of Killers of the Flower Moon on Apple TV Plus now, amazing performance. And it's just disrespectful not to include him. So I think I'm just a little afraid now that Leo's getting a little older. All right. He's getting to this later stage where he's being more selective. His next project, which I already know I'm biased in because one of my favorite directors, Paul Thomas Anderson, again, with Leo, they could have been together in Boogie Nights. Leo said no. It's going to be more commercial. It's going to be a $100 million budget, probably not Oscar material. So Leo's probably not going to get an Oscar for that, or maybe even a nom for that, PTA there. So we're going to be looking at like several years, like almost a decade. Wait, when was the last? 2019. All right, so by the time that movie comes out, 2026, 2027 Oscars, he might not have an Oscar nom since 2019, like 8 years. That would be crazy. So I'm just a little nervous here. I can keep going, but I'm going to pass it back to you.
I it's interesting because like this is not the prototypical Leo role, which made me think that's why he would get an Oscar nomination for it, because he's not doing quote unquote the same thing. And I think a lot of people are thinking, or what I'm thinking actually, is like why he didn't get a nominee here. It's a little bit of it's a character that has no redeeming qualities. You know, he's playing a physically uglier looking person, although he's supposed to be good looking for this like territory back in right like early 20th century. Um, but he is evil in this movie. He's like a quiet form of evil, less overtly evil than let's say a Robert De Niro. And like you think of Killers of the Flower Moon, the message of this movie, like De Niro is getting nominated for Best Supporting Actor. Then if you have Leo with the double tandem evil performance, but then Lily Gladstone's probably going to win, I think people like are saying, man, it kind of looks bad if like you have two evil people in this day and age at the Oscars nominated for the same movie. Are they getting at the right idea by having right both of those guys nominated? I don't know. I just have an issue with you like Leo. He's been a worthy nominee for years at the Oscars, usually gets at least a nomination. It just feels weird where it feels like, oh, this is like a different style of Scorsese movie, a different style of Leo performance that works and is not rewarded at the Oscars, at least with a nomination. We're used to the heartbreak of him not winning an Oscar. We're not used to Leo not getting the nomination here. And
Right.
I'm starting to think like new type of Oscars opening doors for different actors. First time nominee, right? Jeffrey Wright in a lead actor role, Coleman Domingo in a lead actor role, right? Both people of color, and they can be very worthy. I haven't seen either movie, to be honest, but it's just interesting to me that like an evil Leo, right, relenting, like basically not given a spot at the table at the Oscars. I don't know. I thought Leo was definitely worthy enough. I'm not gonna say he's more worthy than like Cillian Murphy. Cillian Murphy should win this freaking award. Paul Giamatti, I would love to see win, but I don't think he's Cillian Murphy here. And we won't go into who's going to win here, Ricky Books. I see you making faces over there. That's
Yeah.
not what
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
about. It's about who didn't get like a nomination here. But any